Merry Christmas, new life. Merry Christmas, new life.
Merry Christmas, new life.
Good morning, New Life. We hope you're all having a wonderful time with your families this morning. And we want to wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. I'm so glad you could take this time to be with us this morning, and I hope you're having a great Christmas day with your family at home. Today I just want to keep you for just a short time. I'm going to read with you a devotional that I've been studying through for the Advent season by Paul David Tripp called Come Let Us Adore Him, a daily Advent devotional. And we'll start with a verse, Galatians for Christmas. All right, Galatians chapter 4, 4 through 7. But when the fullness of time had come, God sent forth His Son, born of a woman, born under the law, to redeem those who were under the law, so that we might receive adoption as sons. And because you are sons, God has sent the Spirit of His Son into our hearts, crying, Abba, Father. So you are no longer slaves, but a son. And if a son, then an heir through God. The Christmas story is more than a story of a family with nowhere to stay, singing angels, amazed shepherds, searching wise men, and a jealous monarch. If it were a made-up fable with all these interesting elements, in the final analysis, it would help no one. The Christmas story is not intended to teach you a bunch of moral lessons. It's a story that is rooted in real history, real acts of God that are intended to provide for you and me the one thing we desperately need: moral rescue. The Christmas story is about a God of glorious grace invading human history with the grace of redemption. What was the cost of that grace? Well, the price was the death of His Son. What the birth of Jesus tells us is that, in love, both the Father and the Son were willing. A willing Savior is born to rescue unwilling people from themselves because there is no other way. Jesus was willing to leave the splendor of eternity to come to this broken and groaning world. He was willing to take on human flesh with all its frailty. He was willing to endure an ignominious birth in a stable. He was willing to go through the dependency of childhood. He was willing to expose Himself to all the hardships of life in this fallen world. He was willing to submit to His own law. He was willing to do His Father's will at every point. He was willing to serve when He deserved to be served. He was willing to be misunderstood and mistreated. He was willing to endure rejection and gross injustice. He was willing to preach a message that would cause Him personal harm. He was willing to suffer public mockery, to endure physical torture, to go through the pain of His Father's rejection. He was willing to die. He was willing to rise and ascend to be our constant advocate. Jesus was willing. You see, it's not just the Christmas story. Rather, the entire redemptive story hinges on one thing: the eternal willingness of Jesus. Without His willingness, you and I would be without hope and without God. Without His willingness, we would be left under the curse of sin. Without His willingness, we would be eternally doomed. This Christmas, let's not forget to stop and celebrate our Savior's willingness. His willingness is your hope in life, death, and eternity. But there's even more to be said. The Advent willingness of Jesus is your guarantee that He continues to be willing today. Right here, right now, He is willing to love you on your very worst day. Right here, right now, He is willing to forgive you again and again. Here, He is willing to be patient as you continue to grow and mature. Right now, He is willing to battle on your behalf against evil within and without. He is willing to teach you through His Word here and now. Now He is willing to supply every one of your spiritual needs. Now He is willing to be faithful even when you are not. He, right now, is willing to empower you when you're weak and to restore you when you're fallen. He's willing to comfort you when you're discouraged and protect you when you stepped into danger. And He remains willing to do everything necessary to feed, guide, sustain, and protect you until eternity is your final home. You see, the Advent story reminds us that our past, present, and future hope rests not on our willingness, but on the willingness of the one for whom the angels sang, the shepherds worshiped, and the Magi searched. Willing Jesus came to save unwilling sinners. That, my friends, is good news. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas, and we look forward to seeing you here at church in the new year. God bless.